Hi, welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History with me, Claire Ridgway, author of several Tudor history books. Today I'm taking you back to the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. For On This Day in Tudor History, the 3rd of August 1562, Essex landowner and notorious rake John de Vere, 16th Earl of Oxford, died at Hedingham Castle in Castle Hedingham, Essex. Let me share with you a few facts about this Tudor rake. Oxford was born at Hedingham Castle in Essex in 1516 and was the eldest son of John de Vere, 15th Earl of Oxford, and his second wife, Elizabeth Trussell. Oxford's father, the 15th Earl, had served Henry VIII as an esquire of the body, Great Chamberlain, and a royal councillor, and had carried the crown at Anne Boleyn's coronation in 1533. As well as subsequently sitting on the jury trying her in 1536. Oxford was Lord Bulbeck until his father's death in 1540, when he became the 16th Earl of Oxford. Unfortunately, he didn't follow in his father's footsteps as Chamberlain, as that title was granted to Thomas Cromwell. With his father, Oxford was present at the reception of Anne of Cleves in London in January 1540. He served in Henry VIII's French campaign in 1544 as captain of the rear guard, and he was chief mourner at the King's funeral in 1547. He also served in that role at King Edward VI's funeral in 1553. Oxford was knighted in the celebrations for Edward VI's coronation in 1547. And he was married to Dorothy Neville, daughter of Ralph Neville, 4th Earl of Westmoreland, in 1536, in a ceremony attended by Henry VIII. The couple had a daughter, Catherine, in 1538, but Dorothy left Oxford in June 1546. When the Duke of Norfolk, who was related to her by marriage, tried to persuade her to go back to her husband, Dorothy explained that she would never go home again among such a bad company as were about the Earl of Oxford at that time. Dorothy was referring to men like John Lucas, Master of Requests, who gambled with Oxford and who even won the wardship of a young woman from Oxford via a game of dice. Oxford also had a mistress, and it was said that he made a bigamous marriage to a woman called Joan Jockey, who was subsequently attacked, her nose cut, by Thomas Darcy and Edmund Sheffield, who were married to Oxford's sisters, Elizabeth and Anne. By the time of Dorothy's death in January 1548, Oxford was already involved with Dorothy Foster, who was his daughter's servant, and even had banns of marriage read out in 1547 before his first wife's death. However, in August 1548, he actually went on to marry Marjorie Golding and had a son by her, Edward de Vere, 17th Earl of Oxford, and then a daughter, Mary. In 1552, Henry Neville, Dorothy's brother, attacked Oxford, striking him and drawing blood. It is not known what provoked the attack. In 1553, Oxford was one of those who signed Edward VI's letters patent, in which the king named Lady Jane Grey as his heir, and he was said to have imprisoned a man named Clement Tusser in Hedingham Castle after Tusser had proclaimed Edward VI's half-sister Mary as queen. Tusser was able to get Oxford's servants on side though, and Oxford did an about-turn and released Tusser and confined those in his household who were on Lady Jane Grey's side. He then organised his men and supported Mary with his force. He was rewarded for his support by being made Great Chamberlain after the office was taken off the Marquess of Northampton. In 1554, he opposed the marriage match of Mary I and Philip of Spain, but managed to avoid getting implicated in any plots against the Queen. In 1555, as the local magnate, he helped oversee the burnings of heretics in Colchester and Manningtree. When Elizabeth I came to the throne, Oxford kept his office of Great Chamberlain and served as Lord Lieutenant of Essex. He was on the jury that tried Thomas Wentworth, 2nd Baron Wentworth, for his part in losing Calais in 1558. In 1561, he entertained Queen Elizabeth I at his home. And like the Earls of Oxford before him, Oxford maintained a company of players that performed in London and in the provinces. He died on this day in Tudor history, the 3rd of August 1562, and although he'd stated in his will that he wanted to be buried at Earl's Colne, it appears that he was buried at Castle Hedingham. His widow went on to marry Charles Tyrrell, but was buried with Oxford when she died in 1568. His son and heir Edward became the ward of Sir William Cecil, chief advisor to Elizabeth I. His daughter Catherine married Edward Windsor, 3rd Baron Windsor. His son Edward married Anne Cecil and then Elizabeth Trentham, and his daughter Mary married Peregrine Bertie, Baron Willoughby, and then Sir Eustace Hart. Also on this day in Tudor history, the 3rd of August 1553, the newly proclaimed Queen, Mary I, processed through the streets of London with her half-sister, the future Queen Elizabeth I, after having been greeted as Queen. It must have been a sight to see as the citizens of London celebrated the accession of Mary I after the rather short reign of Queen Jane. And you can find out more about this in last year's video, which I'll give you a link to. You can find the link in the description. Thank you for joining me today. You can subscribe by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified as these videos go live, and you can give me a like and leave me a comment. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye bye.